Justin, Mike, and Andre are here, and we're excited about bringing to you this podcast. Before we get into the word and start talking about that, I wanted to just rehearse about the fact, Andre and Mike and Justin, that we've got all this stuff going on all over campus and around the world this week. Tell us what's happening this week. What is it? The 20th, we have what? A Star is Born?
We have A Star is Born on the 20th.
It's incredible.
So let's talk about this real quick, because this is a family engaging moment.
Yeah.
This is a night that you can bring the kids. This is a night that you can bring the family, bring the popcorn, pillows, and blankets. Friday, December the 20th at 6 p.m. here at the Church of Champions, we are showing the Christmas movie, The Star. This is the story of the first Christmas.
Yeah. It's going to be a blast.
We've seen a preview this past Sunday in church.
It was hilarious.
Do you have that preview?
I'm sure we can grab it. Let's see if we can pull that up.
Pull that up for everybody and let them see that. That's an incredible thing.
I mean, it was definitely something that was amazing, and it's something that, as we're getting ready to get into this holiday season, I mean, it kind of takes you out of the normalcy of that holiday type movie.
Yeah.
But this is full of comedy.
Well, and it's a family event. It's for everybody to bring their family. We're going to have all kinds of cider and wassail and
all kinds of nice little snacks. And
we're gonna have everything open and going, and all the kids are going to be there.
Yeah,
family's going to be there. We have over 400 people registered right now.
So. The registry is going to be wall to wall, stacked with just family.
It's going to be fun.
It's gonna be fun. I love the previews. I mean, I was there, even though I was working the camera that day, but we all got a chance to stop and look at that, and it was the jokes are funny, and it was something that I didn't really expect.
I've never seen it. I'm excited about previewing it as well. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be fun.
So definitely bring the family out to see the movie of The Star, the first story of Christmas.
Yes, sir.
And make sure that you guys are tuned in to this broadcast tonight, because tonight we have some special things happening. We have some special conversation that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And if you guys stay tuned, I have a special surprise for all of the family at the end of tonight's broadcast.
That's going to be good. That's going to be awesome. All right. And then the second thing we need to note is this coming weekend on the 22nd, we have a candlelight service, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. We're going to have Mike Ramirez and his wife here from Throne Room Studio, and he's going to be painting a special painting that is going to be commissioned just for the Church of Champions.
Oh, wow.
And I believe that it might be even sold or auctioned off at the end of the service. So I'm not certain about that, but it could be purchased for the right amount of money.
Hey, and the one he did for us, The Lion and the Lamb.
Oh, yeah.
Golly, to be in presence, in studio. I mean, I'm going to say in studio, because he literally turned our worship session into a studio.
Yeah. He's one of the most amazing people I've ever seen in how God used him. He is living proof and testament to the reality that God takes you in your natural abilities, and he takes your natural giftings, and he anoints those, and he uses them to his glory. So if you're here and you have some giftings in your life, and you have some things that God's called you to do, and you're wondering how they intersect with his supernatural divine power, you will be absolutely blessed by Mike and Lori's testimony. They're going to be amazing, and they're going to be an amazing blessing to you. So everybody that's been here for a while, that's known them, can't wait to see them again. And for all of our new wonderful believers that are part of our faith family, you're going to be awed at how God uses him in talent. And I also received some messages this afternoon from the Amazon, and it's amazing to see how many people are being baptized in Jesus' name right there in the waters of the Amazon. And I dare say they might be somewhat dangerous for North Americans, but these precious people are wading out into neck deep water, and they're ready to be baptized in the name of the Lord. So it's fun and exciting. How is your guys' day? Start off, Andre. You're the senior diplomat here.
So today was one of those days to where you you were running around with like a chicken with your head cut off.
Yeah.
From work
Yeah.
to just everyday life.
Yeah.
One of the things that I want to talk about, because we always talk about some off the wall things. I'm sure you've been following. We do. I'm sure you've been following what's happened to the healthcare CEO.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a study that just came out by one of the
Emerson College.
Yeah. That I would say young adults from the ages of
18 to 29. 18 to 29 years old. 41% of them believed that his killing was justified. Now that is absolutely shocking, not alarming. That is shocking to see the reality of what our educational system, with secularism as being the doctrine of that system, has fomented and cemented in the spirits and psyches of these young people. What that is that's the fruit of moral relativism.
Wow.
When you can live in a place where there is no God and you can justify any activity or action.
Yes.
That is one of the most dangerous places in the world to dwell, because from that nexus, you can make an argument to become or do anything you want to do, and to the harm and hurt and injury of anyone else. It is a total annihilation of any God-centered consciousness. And so it leaves you in this moral abyss where nothing is real but the cavity of hell itself. And so that's where these young people are. And it's 41%. Now, this is a college campus. This is a place of higher learning. This is where your academia is supposed to shine. And this is a place where these young people are saying, we believe it's justified. And I heard one say they were happy about it.
So not only have they said that they were happy about it,
yeah,
but they've also put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah.
To this day, or at last time I checked, he had a defense fund already up to $50,000.
140,000 now.
See, now it's 140.
In 3 hours, it's gone to $140,000.
So what does that tell you about?
And people, I get some hate mail once or twice a day. So I have people, that don't like absolute truth.
Right.
And certainly have their own opinions, and that's fine. Your opinion is completely appropriate for yourself, although you could be 100% wrong. But my point is people get very uncomfortable when you start talking about things that do not correlate with their own opinion. So if it's counter to what they believe, then they find it to be very difficult to have a conversation with you. Whereas in the tribunal of thought and knowledge, at the table of the Sanhedrin, at the foundations and origins of the rabbinic scholars, anywhere in the Greek symposiums that you look at, thought was always developed by the execution of an argument. And so you would submit your idea, or you would submit your argument to a council, or to a tribunal, or to a gathering, or to a table of different peers, and they would be wise men themselves, philosophers of their own logic, and they would offer to you what they thought about your truth, or your relative anchors. So we live in a world today that is so secularized and sterilized by its own devoted religious acumen to its own ideology. It's got its own belief system, to the degree that if you argue with it, or you present an alternative argument, you're an enemy. You're offensive. You're evil. So that's very much a dangerous thing to get into a place where you can no longer hear. You don't have the acumen or the will to hear someone of an opposing opinion. And so, we were in a Christmas gathering last night with some men, and one of our elders, Elder Washington, sent me a video of his family making a video of kind of the histrionics of their family. And these old ancient mothers singing and praying and loving God, and they're working for 50 cents in a cannery, or they're working picking cotton, at the turn of the century, and they're worshiping and they're glorifying God. And there's this, the hue and the tenor and the cry of their heart is, we're thankful for God's goodness.
Yeah.
Well, how circumspect are we to look at that and say, that was their attitude in the most adverse of circumstances and the most horrible injustices of their generation, right? That we all march against today. How is it that they had that kind of attitude of righteousness and thankfulness when they were being mistreated? And today, I'm offended if you don't agree with me.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because I was having a conversation with someone just the other day, and the conversation was more of, I didn't go to church today, but I watched it online. And so it immediately made me ask a question.
Talk about it.
Well, what happened to our forefathers when they didn't have the opportunity to say, I'm gonna sit back and watch it online? But then it also was passed down to the children, because the children was, quote unquote, you're coming, if we're going to service, you're going to service. And so it woved in them a type of fabric, right?
But I think the larger point that you're making is technology has allowed people to think that they can download knowledge without any interaction with another human soul. So you can't practice and articulate. Knowledge will never become wisdom to you if you exempt yourself from rubbing shoulders with other people, because iron is sharpened by iron. Right?
That makes me think.
A brother is created for adversity.
Wow.
You've got to get in the heat of the battle. And if you think that living life is going out to your workplace, putting up with chaos all day long, and then retreating behind your four walls and never talking to anyone else until 8 a.m. in the morning, that's not living. That's being sequestered.
That makes me think, though, Pastor, like the strategicness of the enemy, right?
Right.
How the pandemic clearly desensitized people need for the, for in-person church,
right.
going to service. Now people have gotten comfortable. I mean, the world was shut down for at least a year and a half.
That's right.
And it's just like it. And so now you see that even more. And now people feel like, church is inside your home, and how everything kind of goes that direction. And honestly, if you really think about it, though, everything that we see has started from the colleges, right?
Yeah,
with identity politics, all of it. And it always was a reflection of, because those kids leave college and then they go into prominent positions,
right?
And they bring that ideology, and you see it now pushed into the forefront. It's a paradigm.
Well, and you have generations of this. I tell people all the time when I'm talking to leaders, and I don't know when we're going to get to the study, but I guess this is more important. And I really love this. I mean, this is what it's all about, right? But when you're talking to leaders, you have to reflect on the reality that there was a major shift in the world in the 60s. And so you had the fomenting, the launching. Not only did you have tremendous civil rights taking place, marches, and you had all of that demonstration and that power and that upheaval for righteous judgment. It's a groundswell, and it's coming from a major portion of the populace. Then off to the side, so you have this demand for righteous judgment. Let's take, if you look at it cylindrically, the center of it is this wellspring that everyone with a common sense and any idea of goodness and God would say, I'm for that. Yeah, that needs to be changed. That needs to be adjusted. But around the center of that, you had this explosion of Vietnam War protest and these counter revolutionaries to the protest of the war was peace loving. It's all about love. Paint a peace sign on your bus. Get a bus. You can't be in the movement if you didn't have a bus.
You gotta have a bus.
You gotta have a bus and some. What were those?
Some bell bottoms.
Bell bottom. I had some. My dad didn't know it, but I had some.
Oh wait, you got to make sure you got the sun painted on the bell bottom.
You got to have and a tie-dye T-shirt.
I
mean, you got to get with it. And so you had this explosion within culture itself that was recreating and removing anchor points and memorials and the things that have anchored us to a Puritan mentality. So there was an explosion of that and a redistribution of that. And my point is, taking a long time to get there, is that all of the children of the hippie movement, the dope smokers, the free love people, morality doesn't matter. I don't care about my parents' morality. If I want to live in a bus and cruise the California highway and sing to whoever, I'm going to do that. All of those people now have grandchildren that are in leadership.
Yes.
Yeah.
They not only were in leadership, their grandchildren are in leadership.
Yes.
Right.
And so you have very much this strain of independence, relative moralism is so dangerous. And that's exactly what all of that was.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So no rules, no governmental structure, no orchestration of order in your life. If it feels good, do it, man. You know, peace, man.
You sound just like it. If it feels good,
oh, yeah.
do it, man.
Was
do
it?
Yeah.
My wife's favorite people were Cheech and Chong. We met them one time. And she
Look at that.
said no. So,
That's why she back that up.
But you know, that's the truth. That's what it was. It was like, peace out, man. And today it's like, okay, there's lost nuclear warheads running around America. Nobody can find them. There are drones that no one wants to claim ownership of. Of course, we know that they're military.
Yep.
And they're sniffing out at night, looking for this lost nuclear warhead. And we've got all this aberration of evil happening everywhere. Today, a Coca-Cola truck. Did you see that? I don't know if y'all can pull that up. A Coca-Cola truck was stopped in Cicero, Illinois, or Cicero, Illinois, and they opened the back doors. The law enforcement agencies that stopped it opened the back doors, and it was filled with small children.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. So somebody, I'm sure, hijacked a Coca-Cola truck and did that. But you have this just absolute unbridled wave of evil happening, and the moral relativism and the fruit of that is, okay, we can explain it away and justify it. If we agree with it, we accept it.
Right.
It's assassination. Yeah. Oh, well, we didn't like that guy. So yeah, we believe in that. If it's against our persuasions, then of course we're against that. But so my point is that you see a complete evisceration of any Christian logic and doctrine in a society.
Isn't that the definition of narcissism?
Oh, absolutely. It's narcissism manifested as self-loathing justice.
What's the name of another ideology belief system? They don't, not anarchists. I forgot. They're libertarians.
Oh yeah,
libertarians who.
Well, a libertarian by definition is someone who says most libertarians that I've ever met are people that want to believe like in physical conservatism, but they believe in liberal ideologies as far as justice programs and so forth. Okay. So they really are a dichotomy, but most of them identify as that. The ones that I've met identify that to keep from identifying with the two main parties. So they'll call themselves that just to not be one of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're trying to say they riding the fence? They're
riding the fence. And also many of them don't know how to articulate what they believe because they believe a little bit of both.
Right.
They want this, but they don't believe in that. Well, that pays for this. So, you know, it's like,
right,
we want our cake and eat it too. And so what happens if they're not anchored to a real Judeo-Christian ethic, most of the time they will be awash and taken away in the tides of socialism.
That was good. That was
so
good.
that's where we are. And I want to get something to you, and I want these guys to jump in. First of all, I'm excited about Mike being here. He is our absolute genius on anything to do with the San Fernando Valley and all of that. All of that. What do they call that?
What's that? Apple?
Tech Valley. Yeah.
Tech Valley. Okay.
Yeah. What's Silicon Valley? Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley.
This is the genius from Silicon Valley. And we're so thankful for him being here tonight. And I don't know if you can tell, we're always trying to create a better environment for your viewing pleasure. But we want you to jump in. We want you to talk to us. We want you to holler at us. And if you guys see someone that says something or has a question, put it up on the screen, Andre, and let me know about it and shout it out. But I want to get into what we began Sunday morning, because this is such a tremendous revelation for people. Somebody asked me, said, why are you so focused on the reality of and the correlation of the meat in my house with the gift of God's presence? And so when we talk about the gift of God's presence, when we talk about being in his presence, I want you to know that I am absolutely convinced it is the nearness of your life to his presence. And someone said, well, that's an oxymoron because he's everywhere at all times. He's omnipresent. Of course he is. But when I talk about the nearness to the center of his presence, I'm actually talking about our willingness to die to self. I made a statement a couple of weeks ago on a podcast, and it might have been misunderstood by some. And I said something along the lines of, you don't really even start praying until after 30 minutes or so, because of really how you avail yourself of the presence of God. Well, someone said, well, that's not true. Is God is as close as the mention of his name. And that's absolutely correct. That is 100% true. And I'm not talking about prayer not being effectual in a moment or prayer not being real in 5 minutes. What I'm talking about is the person who is praying really doesn't get into the spirit of prayer until they've exhausted themselves. For much of the pretext of our prayer, we're praying out of our own thoughts and our own patterns and our own wishes and our own agendas and our own needs and our own desires. But after a time spent in his presence, there's a shift in the spirit and there's a shift in your personhood, because your flesh begins to melt away, if you will. Your desires no longer are as captivating as they were when you first started talking to him. And because you've been basking in his presence, it's more about his glory than your fulfillment of need. And so when you get into his presence, you begin to love him and exhaust this flesh in the presence of God. There's something about the diminishing return of flesh and the glory of God's presence all